It's Wednesday, September 23rd, and I'm getting a dawn start for my Cocodona 250 segment today. On the forest road, but going to turn onto single track pretty soon, I think. Just after entering the Rogers Lake Natural Area, you cross a cattle guard and then you'll see the big sign on your right. You'll come to this trailhead on the left and you'll have seen a trail crossing sign. And this is the single track trail on the right we're going to turn onto, which is Two Spot Trail. Right after going through the gate on Two Spot Trail, there's a junction and you immediately turn right on Gold Digger Trail. And this is a nice, pretty single track trail through the forest. I'm a little over a mile out on Gold Digger Trail. It's been really pretty and very gentle grades. Mostly very runnable with just a few rocky sections. And I think that hill there is Woody Mountain. Just looking at the topo. I'm not that familiar with this area, but anyway, this has been a nice trail. Generally a little bit of a climb away from Rogers Lake. I think I've come up around 200 feet or so. And then the section I'm in right now is very flat. I've been hearing some elk bugling this morning in the distance. And that combined with running into the hunters yesterday makes me glad I'm wearing red. But it's really neat to listen to their calls, you know, as the sun just starts to rise today. I am trying to get some video with the sounds of the elk on it, but every time I turn on the camera, I miss it. They're off to my left. Oh, there's one up ahead. All right, it looks like I'm going to turn right here on Rogers Trail. So I'm going to do that. I'm guessing this is called Rogers Trail because through the trees there, you can see the Rogers Lake area. And you can hear the elk calling and bugling all around. It's such a wonderful morning to be up here. I've never done this trail before, and I'll definitely come back and do it again, even aside from Cocodona. This is really pretty and a wonderful trail to hit at sunrise. After swinging around on the west side and having a view, Rogers Trail goes through this really large stand of oak trees. Very pretty. Got a sign coming up. Okay, Rogers Trail, Flagstaff Loop Trail in 4.9 miles. Gorgeous area. This is basically on shoulder, south kind of plateau shoulder of Woody Mountain. After leaving the plateau, the trail drops gradually down around the side of Woody Mountain and through a mix of pine trees and oak. And I'm coming up on power lines to my right, but I've looked at the trail and it's actually going to swing a bit more to the left and continue dropping down. At about 4.3 miles from Rogers Lake, you have dropped down off of the steeper part of the mountain at least, and into this area. On my map it shows that there are several wells dotted through here, which are the Flagstaff city wells. But it's just another change of scenery. I like it. Got some young pine trees coming up amongst the older ones. Kind of left the oak trees mostly behind. There's a few. And more clearings now. Just crossing under the power lines again. And I don't know if you can see it on the video, but the pump house is over there. That's well number 4. And pretty yellow flowers. And I am continuing on the trail. Not sure what the name of this one is. Don't know if it's still Rogers Trail or if it's turned into something else, because they don't put names on it anymore. This section's been nice and flat. I mean, gently rolling, but basically flat since dropping off of the shoulder of the mountain. Oh, and that is Woody Mountain, and then the shoulder was just over there. Still on Rogers Trail, but getting close to the junction with the Flagstaff Loop Trail. And the trail's been pretty consistent terrain. It is a general downhill. It's a very slight downhill from Woody Mountain. I'm now, let's see, about 170 feet below the elevation that I started at over by Rogers Lake. So once you climb up and over the shoulder of Woody Mountain, then on this side it's a descent off the shoulder of the mountain and then a very gradual rolling descent through this section. I'm now at the junction with Flagstaff Loop Trail. Rogers Trail apparently continues this direction, but the Cocodona 250 course turns right here. I actually backed up a little bit to see the other side of that sign. So I'm going to take the loop trail this direction. I just came from Rogers Trail, which is that way. And it looks like Fort Tuthill is 7/10 of a mile from here. I'm now about 8.5 miles or so from Rogers Lake. And after the junction where I turned right onto the Flagstaff Loop Trail, then I hit another junction with something called Soldiers Trail, where I turned left, which was still the loop trail. And then just a minute ago, I passed another junction where the loop trail went to the left, but I stayed right on Soldiers Trail. So I'm sure all this will be nicely marked during the race event. But right now it's taking me a little time at each intersection to decide which way my path is going, because the trail network in here is not on my Gaia maps, and that's where I have the Cocodona 250 GPX track laid in. But it's a pretty day and it's a pretty forest. I'm really enjoying the trails here. I'm now just about a little under 9.5 miles from Rogers Lake, and I did get a little confused coming down into the Fort Tuthill Park area. It looked like, on my map, it looked like it was going to be Soldiers Trail down. But as I continued down on that, I noticed I was a bit off to the left of the track. So I wandered rightwards on another trail and then kind of skirted around the edge of the campground. So not positive exactly of the track through that area. But now I'm coming up into the area where the pin for the Fort Tuthill, presumably aid station, is at mile 216. Again, I don't know exactly where in this area that'll be, but the pin is dropped on my map just up here off to the left a little bit. So I'm guessing that's somewhere in that area, maybe what it is. There's a rope course off to the left, and then the pin is a little bit up beyond here. So we will see on race day where that actually is. After taking Soldiers Trail past a horse race track that's on your left, you turn right on a small dirt road, and then take another right as you get close to the highway to get to this dirt road. I got distracted there by the guys working on the embankment. And this will take us into a culvert that crosses under I-17. I'm now on a trail that's paralleling I-17 just to the east. After crossing under I-17, I went up the hill along the backside of a subdivision and then crossed a paved road to get into this section of the forest. So this section of the forest has mostly been just unmarked, or I haven't seen any markings for the forest roads. And there are several through here. So I've just been going slower, pulling out the map at each intersection and then making a guess for which way it goes, and then checking after I've gone down it a little ways. It's pretty. It's starting to warm up a bit now, but there's a lot of shade through this section, so it's not a problem at all. So I'm looking back down the course route. I actually came up this way, closer to the airport here. The two tracks are so close together, I just didn't realize it until I was already on this one, and I could tell they went up the same bluff. So, but now I am back on top of the GPS line. The terrain here is all pretty similar, so I don't think the trail footing or anything would be much different. So I just crossed Lake Mary Road at the junction with J.W. Powell Boulevard, and I am heading off in this direction. That marks the end of segment I on the list of training segments. As you can see, there is parking here, and this is the beginning of segment J. I am not doing all of segment J today. I am just doing a portion of it. I'm currently a little less than 2 miles in to segment J, and I'm following a trail that's along the edge of what is on my map marked as Skunk Canyon. So I guess this is Skunk Canyon here. There's actually a smoother trail down in the bottom, but the course follows this trail, and my guess is in May that trail down in the bottom might still be a little wet at this elevation, but I don't know. It might be dry. In any case, this is a fine trail. I'm enjoying more of typical Flagstaff pine forest. This trail is a little bit rockier than some of the other sections. Again, not a problem if your legs are fresh, but something to be aware of if your legs are tired. Around 4 miles into segment J, maybe a little bit more, and I had turned up away from Skunk Canyon and did some trail up on a little bit of a plateau. And now I turned off of that single track trail and I'm following this double track. And the footing on the double track has sometimes been quite good and then sometimes a little bit rockier. But it's generally going down this drainage, which looks like it's actually going to connect back up to Skunk Canyon a bit lower down. So, and then from there, I think we'll generally wander over until we're paralleling Walnut Canyon, but I haven't quite looked that far ahead yet. Not quite 5 miles into this segment, I've just come down this drainage and I've rejoined the Skunk Canyon drainage lower down, and I am also now on the Arizona Trail. Picked that up, I don't remember, half mile, quarter mile ago. So this section is part of the Arizona Trail. And the footing here, just over pretty much the part since I joined the Arizona Trail has been really good. So back to single track now, and sandy, hardly any rock in this section so far, so that's been fun. I'm just coming down the very bottom of Skunk Canyon. There's some neat rock walls up to the left, and I am almost down to Walnut Creek, or Walnut Creek Canyon. Just beyond this area here, that next drainage ahead is Walnut Creek. This area is so pretty. It's cooler down here in this drainage, at least today, and I'm enjoying the smooth footing, the beautiful views, the cooler temperatures, and getting to drop down into Walnut Creek Canyon. it looks like from looking ahead that the course is going to turn and climb out of it right away, but it's still neat to come down into this section. Looking up the canyon, pretty meadows here, and then the course is going to swing left right here. Actually, let's look at the sign. Arizona Trail, Marshall Lake 5.6, Flagstaff Urban Trail 3.5 miles, and Arizona Trail goes both ways. That's interesting. So we are going to go this way and take a look at that. Isn't that just gorgeous? This is absolutely beautiful. I've never been down here. I had heard good things and I've seen a few pictures, but there's really nothing like seeing it yourself on a beautiful day. Just magnificent here. So after just a very short section in the canyon bottom itself, we are going to turn up towards Fisher Point Vista. That's the way the course goes. But some other time I am going to come back and explore in that direction, because that is an awesome rock formation and I would love to go around the end of it. But not today. Today I am climbing up towards Fisher Point, which just from looking at the topo, I think it's basically at the top there. So this should be a little bit of a climb. I'm currently just over, right at 1,027 for the day. So that was starting a little before segment I. And I'll see what I am after this climb. Although very rocky in spots, especially at the beginning. This is a very neat trail up this tight rock-lined drainage. There's lots of little caves under some of these slabs of rock. On the last part of the climb up to Fisher Point, starting to get some really nice distance views, and still have a little bit more to go. So I just crossed the high point. The vista, Fisher Point Vista, is actually 1/10 of the mile off the trail, and I am on a schedule today for dinner with my guy. So I am not gonna go over to the vista. I'll hit that some other time when I'm in this area, because I'll definitely come back. Anyway, the climb ended up being about 9/10 of a mile and almost exactly 400 feet of ascent. After Fisher Point, the Arizona Trail runs along the edge of the canyon, and you have some great views down into the canyon. I see the trail below, a bunch of fall color. I'm a fall color person, so I kind of wish I was down there, but that's not today's goal. But at least I can see it, so that's kind of fun. And some peekaboo views through the trees of the canyon walls. I think I passed a good spot back there for that, but at least I got the picture below. Here we go. So you can kind of see the rocky canyon walls there. Again, this is Walnut Canyon that is down below. That's where I was just a little while ago, before climbing up here. And just really, really pretty trail. I mean, don't get me wrong, well, I would love to be down in there, and that's mostly just because I like getting pictures of fall color close up. But this is pretty spectacular as well. I'm a little bit over 8 miles into segment J. I've turned away from the lip of Walnut Canyon and just doing a gentle climb, or it looks like I just finished a gentle climb, through a nice forested section again. So a lot of the Flagstaff area trails are this kind of forested, not a lot of ground cover, so you can see for a fair distance through the forest, but Lots of pine trees and sort of intermittent shade. At the moment we have some nice cloud cover, so I'm enjoying that. Just over 10.5 miles into this segment, and I'm dropping down a couple of switchbacks here into a small side canyon that feeds into Walnut Canyon. So it's not as deep, but I'll drop down into this canyon and then I'm going to climb out the other side of it. And that was after being up on a, more of a plateau area for quite some time. So a little bit of change in terrain here. Coming down to the bottom of this small side canyon here, and there's some neat rock walls on the sides, and it's shady in here, a little bit cooler, which is nice. And then once I get down to the bottom, looks like I might go along it for just a short distance and then up and out. So the climb up on the far side of that little canyon is at least fairly gentle for the first section. This is the canyon, the side canyon I just crossed over, and just up ahead over there, that's the main Walnut Canyon area. Really nice views here. It looks like from the topo that right at the end of this gentle section, which has kind of just been wandering up the side of the canyon wall, it may turn in and get a little steeper, but it's a neat trail. Very cool looking. A little bit over 12 miles from Lake Mary Road, and just climbed out of the canyon, about that side canyon, about half a mile ago ish. And the footing's actually been really good. Now I'm in a section that of course has a couple of rocks because I said that, but there's been a lot of really nice sandy runnable trail, and a little more open here, so a little warmer right now. My cloud cover disappeared, but nice running. Going straight towards Forest Road 303, which is 4/10 of a mile away. I've actually been, not intentionally, but the route has been following signs for Forest Road 303, which I think is Walnut Canyon Road. That was actually going to be one of the spots where I had told my husband I might want to pick up if I was tired. But since I'm doing just fine today, we are going to do the longer of the two pickups, and he'll pick me up at Route 66. Just coming up on Walnut Canyon Road, and there's a trailhead here. So trailhead signs and the big trailhead map. From here, the course actually follows Walnut Canyon Road off to the left here for a bit, and this was the potential pickup location if I had needed that today. I just came up this road and completely missed that there was a turn here. I was looking for something more significant, but I was watching the GPS track closely, and while you can't really see it from below, there is a right turn here. So let's see, what am I at? I'm at 14 and a quarter maybe. Anyway, watch out for that turn, it's tricky. So I just came through that field fence gate, and that sign says Bearing Tree. I actually turned this way, but after going a little bit of distance that way, it looked like I was not on the track, so I'm going to go this way. There are several very faint, or not faint, but there are just several kind of equally unused tracks through here, and it's really hard to tell which one to take. So honestly, I'm kind of on the GPS track right now, but some of that also depends on how accurate the signal is at the moment. I did eventually pick up some good tread again, so I was just probably not quite right on the GPS route and missed a turn somewhere near that field fence gate that I came through. In any case, followed that tread once I picked it up to the next intersection and then turned right onto this. There wasn't a name for this trail at the intersection, but it was signed. So, and again, more pretty, very runnable trail. Just a 2 or 3/10ths back, the Cocodona route joined back up with the Flagstaff Loop Trail to bring me here to the culvert under I-40. And that makes a certain amount of sense because there's probably a limited number of places where they've bothered to put trails through under the culverts. All right, I came out of the little bit of trail that comes from the culvert underneath I-40, and then this says use overpass for the Flagstaff Loop Trail. So, and my GPX track also looks like it just runs along the road here. So I am gonna run along the road for a little bit, cross over this overpass, which I don't know if you can see the train going underneath, but clearly this goes over the railway. And at least right here, it's got a nice big shoulder. Some nice views from the overpass. Plus there's a train just coming through. So I decided I had to get some video of that, even though it's really loud, just because it was fun timing. And this is my turn coming up here to get off of the highway. Very short section on the highway. And from here the course turns and goes up this forest road. And there's my guy in the Jeep, ready to pick me up, waiting in the shade. Hi. Well, that's it for today, and I'll pick up tomorrow from here.